Hello, everyone, and warm welcome at our channel, Psychohub Institute of Psychology and Wellness. And I'm your educator and mentor, Vaishali Yadav. Our aim at Psychohub is to learn today and lead tomorrow. And this is our first ever MCQ practice session for UGC NET and GATE. Whosoever is going to attempt this year's UGC NET in December or GATE in February, I'm urging everyone to practice the questions with me. They are based on the recent patterns of UGC NET and GATE, right? And for the paid students who have already enrolled in our courses, this is based on whatsoever you have covered so far. So try to solve it, right? And if there's any query which you can't understand or any explanation you can't, get, you can comment your queries uh, on the comment section or reach out as your Telegram or WhatsApp groups. So let's begin with today's session with our quote of the day, which is healing takes time and asking for help is a courageous step, right? So we will get with our little bit introduction. So I'm your mentor, Vaishali Yadav, and our batch has already started on 12th September 2025. This will be a 4-month program and which we will cover UGC NET plus GATE syllabus. What you will get is the digital notes, class recording of the session for 9 months. Paper one, free notes is included, which is designed by me, and I'm asking everyone that paper one is actually a very important paper, and it will decide that you will get your JRF or not. So read the paper one notes very carefully. It includes all the topics very precisely. Plus, it will include doubt classes, free mentor sessions you will get for after each unit, plus the counseling session if any demand for it. Plus, as I told you, that the classes are already has started, so it is going on. Plus, this is the revision class on YouTube, which will be covered through MCQs, which I'm doing right now. For the course fee, you can contact us and on our WhatsApp contact number or on our email address. So let's, without any wasting any further time, let's begin our first question. It's a assertion-based question. Assertion. Fixed action patterns studied by Timberwork are triggered by specific environmental stimuli. Reason. FAPs are flexible, behavioral responses modified by learning. Options include both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. A is false, but R is true. So, are you, can you get the answer? So the answer is C. Fixed action pattern. So there's a trick. There's one trick for assertion and reason which I wanted to share with you. That while solving assertion and reason, try to separate it as assertion plus reason. This plus here indicates the explanation. So as we will solve it, 1 plus 1. Fixed action pattern studied by Timberwork. Is that true? Fixed action pattern studied by Timberwork? Yes, it was studied in red herring fish. FAPs are flexible, and this is true, which I said. Just you can also, write in front of your question paper or anywhere if you got confused by solving it while practicing it. FAPs are flexible behavior responses modified by learning. This is false. And I tell you why this is false. FAPs are flexible behavior responses. No, FAPs are non-flexible behavioral responses, and it cannot be modified by learning because they are innate responses, and innate responses can't be modified by learning, right? So, uh, as you can see, FAPs are triggered by stimulus, but they are innate and not be flexible or modified by learning. Here's your second question. Try to solve it. Match the temperamental types with their corresponding bodily fluid or human. Column 1, column 2. Uh, Sanguine, choleric, melancholic, phlegmatic. Column 2 is yellow bile, phlegm, black bile, blood. Sanguine is your blood. Choleric is your, as you can understand by cholera, yellow bile. Try to, find that whatsoever is come here and you can see which, if you know option B, then with just the one option, you can get your answer correct, which is 1 here. Sanguine is blood, choleric is yellow bile, melancholic is black bile, phlegm is phlegmatic is phlegm, right? So this is your correct answer. Question number 3. Wu expanded on the four humors theory by systematically connecting the humors to basic temperament style. So the options are Hippocrates, Galen, Plato, Socrates. Try to read it again, try to solve it calmly. Who expended the four humors theory? They are not asking about who gave the theory. They are asking about who expended it systematically and which is expended by Galen. Galen linked the bodily fluid to temperamental styles, providing an early biological basis for personality. As you can know, what Galen did is so what happened here that the four humor theory and the four humors are basically given by Hippocrates, but it was connected to with the basic temperamental style by Galen. Uh, uh, Basic temperamental types and the plotting fluid. Just both are linked by Galen here and providing an early explanation for biological basis for personality. He tried to explain why there is some biology is involved for personality. It is not based completely on personality traits. Now our next question is again assertion and reason. Assertion. According to Plato, mental health is maintained when reason, spirit, and appetite are balanced. Reason. Plato believed the soul consists of only logical and rational part. So, according to Plato, mental health is maintained when reason, spirit, and appetite are balanced. What I just told you regarding how we have to solve it. Is that true? Yes. Is it true? Reason. Plato believes the soul consists of only logical and rational part. Does it true that the Plato believes the soul consists of only rational part? No, it's false. So the answer will be C. And tell you why the reason is false here. Because Plato believes the soul consists of only logical and rational part is false because Plato believed that the soul is omits spirit and appetite, right? So what he said is for the mental health to be maintained, your reason, spirit, and appetite have to be balanced, and the soul is consist of these two parts, spirit and appetite, not logical and rational part. Okay. Here's your explanation. Plato describes three parts, and R is incorrect as is omits spirit and appetite. Okay. Here is the next question. Match the following thinkers with their key psychological concept. Try to match it. What we have just talked about, you can find it here also. Socrates. What Socrates given is Socratic dialogue, which eliminates your other two options, here, right? These two options are eliminated. So we have to find one more option. Plato, Plato gives three-part stone, which we just talked about on the our previous question. So, which will give you only one correct option, and this is one. So, this is just the key fact. Socrates gives Socratic questioning, right? You can identify with the match with the words also. And if you can't understand, like if you know any two or of one and two option, you can definitely get your answer correct by just matching with the two options correct here. So nicotine buildup. There's also one question which I have attended previously. Fixed action pattern. And Gallen Gate talks about the four human theory, right? Question number 6. This statement accurately describes the process of imprinting as studied by Cornell Lawrence. Options: imprinting occurs gradually throughout life and is learned through social reinforcement. Imprinting happens only after the animal reaches adulthood. Imprinting is an innate process triggered during the critical period by environmental cues ensuring survival. Imprinting can be modified at any stage of life by changing external stimulus. So try to solve here. The question asks, process of imprinting studied by Conrad Lawrence. And as per definition, you can go with the answer is C. Why? Because imprinting is an innate process which is triggered during a critical period. As Lawrence did his study on ducklings, he find out that when ducklings hatch, they started following the first person they see. So that is the critical period. The hatching. That's the environmental cue, the first person they see, which ensures their survival and safety. Uh, Here's your answer and explanation. It is a imprinting is an innate, occurs during the critical period after hatching, as I told you. It requires environmental triggers and contributes to survival. Next question. Question number 7. According to Martin Seligman and Christopher Peterson, AIA, values in action, framework in positive psychology, which of the following correctly pairs a virtue with its associates character strengths? The virtue with its character strength. Options are wisdom and knowledge, creativity, perspective, courage, forgiveness, humility, humanity, fairness, teamwork, temperance, love of learning, zest. The correct answer is A. Wisdom and knowledge, creativity, perspective. So, for the VII classification given by Seligman and Peterson, they talked about 24 character strengths under 6 core virtue. So, the virtue you are seeing here is this, they are the virtue: wisdom and knowledge, courage, humanity, temperance. These are the virtues, and which includes 24 character strengths. Creativity and perspective are the strengths under the virtue, wisdom, and knowledge. While courage includes strengths like bravery. Courage includes strengths like bravery, perseverance. Humanity includes strengths like love, kindness, humanity. So it includes human forms, character strength. So every virtue includes some kind of character strength. And there's a recent pattern that they always ask this character strength and virtue question from positive psychology. So try to learn it. 6 plus 24 virtues. VIA, right? So here's your explanation. The correct answer is A. 24 character strengths with 6 core virtues. Creativity and perspective, which we have already talked about, comes under wisdom and knowledge. Plus courage include your perseverance, bravery, and humanity includes strengths like love and kindness. Right? The next question. Column 1. And column 2 here talks about Martin Seligman. Uh, as you can see, it talks about what is given by whom. Martin Seligman, Christopher Peterson, Steve Malahi, Ed Diner, Barbara Fredrickson. Martin Seligman given us, which we just talked about in the previous question, VIA. If you know an answer, yes. Here you will get an answer. If you know one question, one option, you will get the option correct here. Martin Seligman VIA. Chris Miami's element flow theory, and it is a very common question, creative absorption of flow theory, that who is given the concept of flow. It's asked repeatedly in GATE as well as UGC exam. So keep in mind it is given by Chris Miami. Broaden and Bell theory was given by Barbara Fredrickson. Ed Diner. Ed Diner has given us measurement of subjective well-being. And Christopher Peterson is the co-author for conjunctive events, which we just discussed in the previous question, right? So yes, is the answer. Next question. Match the following. List one is School of Psychology, and the concept is given by what school? So psychoanalysis, behavioralism, structuralism, transpersonal psychology. And you can see the concept. Psychoanalysis talks about, you already studied many times, unconscious processes. A is 3, so you have left with two options. Behavioralism talked about S and R relationship. So here is option number 2. Structuralism, we still solve it just for checking. Structuralism talks about elements of conscious experiences, and transpersonal psychology is self-actualization. Okay, so wait here. Yes, this is our correct answer. Let's move with the next question. Question number 10. Assertion and reason. The humanistic approach focuses on present experiences and personal responsibility for behavior. Reason. Humanists believe every individual possesses free will and an innate drive towards self-actualization. Options. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation. A is true, R is false, A is false, and R is true. What I have teached you, try to solve it using that method only. A plus R, right? The humanistic approach focuses on present experiences and personal responsibility for behavior. Is that true? Present. Yes, this is true. Humanist believes every individual possesses free will and an innate drive towards self-actualization. Does humanists believe that? They do believe on the free will and self-actualization theory. So that is also true. Now what we will do is we will put because here. Because in front of reason. So what you have to do for this plus is the explanation for it. That the assertion is the correct explanation or not the correct explanation. So the plus will tell you this. And for understanding it, for marking it, you will go to, you will apply because before the reason and after the assertion. So the humanistic approach focuses on present experiences, personal responsibility for behavior, because humanists believe every individual possesses free will and an innate drive towards self-actualization. Is that true? Yes. So the correct answer would be A. So both A and R are true, right? And R is the correct explanation. Humanistic school focuses on the present subjective experience, personal responsibility, meaning of the individual. Humanistic psychology like Maslow and Rogers. Maslow talks about here your self-actualization part, right? And Rogers talks about free will, asserting that all the humans have an innate growth potential and ability to achieve their best selves. So, our next question, which is question number 11. Which one of the following psychologists is best known as the founder of functionalism and promoted the study of consciousness? The options are Edward B. Titchener, John Dewey, William James, G. Stanley Hall. Try to solve it. Which of the following psychologists best known as the founder of functionalism? So, who is the founder of functionalism? It is C, right, William James. He is the one who promoted the study of consciousness as a process. He gives his book of principle of psychology in 1990, right? So yes, this is the correct answer. William James is recognized as the founder of functionalism, focusing on the purpose of consciousness and behavior rather than its structure. He emphasized how the mind adapts to its environment, contrasting with fictional structuralism, right? He talks about the functions of the mind rather than the elements of the brain or the mind. Dewey and Hall contributed, but James is the most associated with the school, and he is the founder of the school. Next question. Assertion. Freud's psychoanalytic theory emphasized the influence of unconscious drives and early childhood experiences on personality. Reason. According to Freud, the pre-conscious mind is the largest and most influential part of the psyche. So, the correct is it? This is easy. The question is easy here. Freud's psychoanalytic theory emphasizes the influence of unconscious drive. Is that true? Yes, absolutely. Reason. According to Freud, the pre-conscious mind is the largest. Is that true? The pre-conscious mind is the largest and the most influential part of the psyche. If you know the level of consciousness, you will know that the pre-conscious is not the largest part. The unconscious is the largest part, right? So the answer is so it makes a reason false here. So the answer is C, right? Here is our explanation for describes three levels of mind, three level of consciousness, the conscious, the pre-conscious, the unconscious, and the unconscious is the largest part. The unconscious containing repressed thoughts and drive, and there's a most influential part of the psyche. Therefore, the assumption is true and the reason is correct. Next question. Match the following. Abraham Maslow. Yes, it's talk about who gave what and what are the theories. So you can see Abraham Maslow, Stalin Grove, Ken Ridwell, Carl Jung. So Abraham Maslow gives us self-actualization, and this will give us only one option which is correct here. So you can get your answer just by knowing one or two options. So don't get panicked. Just try to, if you don't know who are these new figures, but you know the other two, you can still get your answer correct. So while attempting the UGC NET, there are a lot of match the following game, and there are a lot of this thing. The paper makes plenty because of the match the following and the a lot of wide explanation. But if you practice continuously and try to see, then you can totally solve every question. Stanley Groove. So what Stanley Groove is the holotropic rhetoric. His work is based on reductionism. Ken Wilber. Ken Wilber talked about the integral story of consciousness, and Carl Jung is individualization and collective unconscious. So here we are. Is that true? Yes. Okay, next question. Question number 14. Who authored the major foundational book for the first formally recognized psychological school in the United States? Okay, try to solve it. The options include William James, the principle of psychology, Edward B. Titchener, experimental psychology, John Watson, psychology as the behaviorists use it, Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams. So try to solve it. If you know, get the question that what it is asking, you will get it very easily. The question asks, then just try to, highlight the keyword. Just try to pick the keyword, and then you will get what your answer will be. Who authored the major foundation book for the first formally recognized psychological school? So, for solving this, you have to first know the recognized psychological school, which is first in the order, and this will be yes, structuralism. And if you know who is the founder for structuralism, you will get your answer. Titchener is the founder, so the answer will be, oh, I'm sorry, B, right? Experimental psychology. Yes, the answer will be B. Titchener brought structuralism to US and published experimental psychology. William James, we talked about earlier also that he worked as on functionalism and he's the founder of it. The structuralism school, as in the first recognized one, uh, emerged in 1896. And next question. Assertion. Structuralism emphasizes introspection as the primary method to analyze. Reason. It focuses on the function of consciousness and its role in adaptation rather than its structure. Assertion reason. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation. A is true, but R is false. A is false, R is true. So here, try to solve it again with A plus R method and try to put because in it. But first you have to, when you have to put the because, then the assertion and the reason both come true, then only use the plus method. Otherwise, there's no need for it, right? So, okay. Structuralism emphasizes introspection as the primary method to analyze. Is that true? Structuralism emphasizes introspection as the primary method. Yes, this is true. It focuses on the functions of the consciousness and its role in adaptation rather than its structure. Structuralism हमें नाम से ही समझ आता है स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म टॉक्स अबाउट स्ट्रक्चर एंड फंक्शन होगा तो functionalism. So it explains in itself that the reason is false here. Why? Because the reason talks about the function of consciousness and its role in adaptation and rather than its structure, and it explains the school of functionalism. So the option will be C. Yes. Reason is false because the statement describes functionalism, not structuralism. Functionalism includes James and Dewey. Folks here, William James and Dewey focus on the function of the purpose of consciousness and behavioral adaptation. Or why structuralism focuses on uncovering the structure of the mind. Uncovering the structure of the mind, here we also known as basic elements of mind. You will see at a lot of places basic elements of mind. Next question. Which of the following is not correctly matched regarding the four key dimensions of the recent analysis as per existential psychology? Which is not which is not correctly matched here. Well, one's relationship with the natural world, Mitwell, one's relationship with technology and machines. Eisenberg, one's relationship with oneself, Uberwelt, one's relationship with the spiritual world. So, tell me, what will be the right answer here? Umwelt Midwell, Eisenberg, it's incorrect here. It is based on different analysis, and the answer will be right. Midwell. One's relationship with technology and machines? No. Midwell talks about one's relationship with other people, or you can say social. So it isn't just the natural words. This is oneself. World is right here with the spiritual world, and this is social. Your group, your environment. So yes, correct. It will refers to the one relationship with other people and the meaning given to those relationships. We can also say social, not specifically technology. Next question. Arrange the following school of psychology in order in which they historically emerged as forces in psychology. Right? So these are humanistic, behaviorism, psychology, transpersonal. Let's arrange it. So what is the first force of psychology? Because we don't have to arrange as a school, we have to arrange as a forces. So what's the first forces here? First force is here, psychoanalysis. This is your first force. Then comes the behavioralism, second force. Then comes third पे आपका humanistic psychology and fourth पे आपका transpersonal psychology, which gives us C, B, A, D. Let's check the options here. C, B, A, D. And this is your correct answer. That's right. Yeah, this is your correct answer. First force is comes emergence in 19th early to basically 19th to 20th century when Freud emerged as a psychoanalyst. This is your first force. Second force is behavioralism by Watson Skinner Ward. Third force comes as a humanistic psychology, which is a change, which brings the change in psychology. It's a whole new point of view. That's why we call it as forces. Humanistic by Maslow's Rogers work, and the fourth course is transpersonal psychology in 1960 onwards. We started working. I think there's some. Okay, here's the next question. Maslow is with the concept and explanation. Monoism, dualism, equipotentiality, reductionism. So, brain function as an undifferentiated whole. Mind and body consist of the same substance. Body is material and mind is non-material. And understanding of behavioral phenomena in terms of biological principle. So let's start matching. Monoism talks about monoism. Mono means monist view means single. Monists see mind and body one, one entity. So monist will be mind. They will match as second point. There's only one option correct here, so two will be correct here. You can match the rest also for checking and understanding. Dualism. Dualism talks about two things. Body is material and mind is non-material. So here we can check. B is third, yes. Equipotentiality. Brain functions as undifferentiated whole. Understanding of behavioral phenomena in terms of biological principle. So, equipotentiality. Equipotentiality. Brain function as undifferentiated whole. Equipotentiality talks about brain. Reductionism is the understanding of behavioral phenomena in terms of biological principles. Okay. So yes, it explains here. Monist asserts that mind and body are one, which I just explained you. The same substance and not fundamentally separate. Dualism talks about the mind and body are two different identities. One is material, body is material here, and mind is non-material. The work of Descartes philosophy, René Descartes. And equal potential is referred to the concept which is given by Carl Reichle. as a part of the intact brain can carry out function lost if another part is done. Basically, full potentiality talked about like you know this is your brain. Hope you don't go with on my drawing. So what I meant here that let's say this is in your left hemisphere, right hemisphere, and this part here in frontal lobe loses its function. So what happened that if this part is loses some kind of function, it will acquired and conducted by on by the right hemisphere here. So equipment, what Lashley discovered in this that let's say this part is damaged due to some reason. So for the body to be keep intact and do all its function properly, this part here, this part will start the function while taking it, right? So it was given by Carl Ashwari. And any part of the intact brain can carry out the function lost if in the past. मान लो अगर एक पार्ट डैमेज हो भी गया तो दूसरा पार्ट उसका फंक्शन कैरी आउट कर लेगा. Has the brain works as undifferentiated whole. Basically, what it means that the brain works as whole. It is whole. It's not like one hemisphere left and one hemisphere right. It works as total brain. And that reductionism school seeks to explain complex behavior and psychological phenomena in purely biological terms. That is using biological to explain terms, and that's why we have understanding here that the behavioral phenomena comes from biological. So reductionism is a thought. What it did that it reduces the psychology to just on biological principle, or we can say traits, or anything which is biological. Okay, so next question. The idea that psychology is not based on scientific fact or human shortcoming, but instead should focus on human experience is the basis for which psychological approach. Humanism, structuralism, behavioralism, functionalism. So, try to solve it. The idea that psychology is not based on scientific fact, not based on scientific fact, but instead focus on human experience. I just told you before, if it talks about human experience, free will, or unconditional positive regard, self-actualization, everything will go under, right? Humanism. Humanistic approach talks about human experience, personal meaning, individual potential, and strictly scientific facts, and represents strictly scientific facts. It represents by method and knowledge, which we just discussed, and it talks about understand individual as holistically. Sorry. My bad. It's just okay, holistically. Advocate the psychology should nurture growth and not treat deficits. Right? Here's your next question. The whole is greater than the sum of its part is a core principle of its school. I know what you are thinking. That is an easy question. And some of the very easy questions are coming late sometimes. So try to brush up your concept. The whole is greater than the sum of its part. I don't think we really need to, read the options here. You can just know it that this is Gestalt. Gestalt talks about Gestalt psychology given by your Max Wertheimer, and it argues the conception and mental processes are organized as whole, not just a collection of elements. Means whole is greater than sum of its parts. This principle is to Gestalt from structuralism and other ideation. This is it. Thank you very much for joining me and learning with me. For any queries, of course, you can contact us through our number, email, or on WhatsApp website. It's your choice. And if you like this session, please like it, subscribe our channel. Thank you very much.